Hello, everybody, and welcome into the clubhouse here at Sunset Hills Golf Club in Pekin, Illinois. It's Ledgestone Week. We got Tournament Director Nate Heinold. Nate, you just told me there were 2,430 competitors here across numerous divisions, across the entire greater Peoria area. First off, how? Tell me about this.
You know, how is that 10 days from now we'll start planning for next year, and the team will sit down and we'll get stuff started. And so it's a year-long full-time job. I have 16 employees now that work in the tournament operations side. So that's the how. It's a lot of work. I have a wonderful team behind me that really helps me do everything.
You've been running this tournament for a very long time, and it's gone through so many iterations. And I remember playing the very first Ledgestone that you ever ran way back in the day. I mean, over a decade ago, it feels
14 years ago, yeah.
Talk about this idea and this dream that you had, starting from really selling discs out of one single box.
Yeah, I mean, the first dream was trying to have this tournament promote my insurance agency, and then it grew to selling discs out of a box on Facebook, and then it just kept growing. And then 2019 Pro Worlds opened my eyes to the spectator experience. We charge people $10, one of the first events to charge spectators, and it's grown now into this passion and this obsession to just continue to get better.
And that's an understatement. I mean, you got touring players to come out and see McNaughton Park and all the great courses that the greater Peoria area had to offer way before the 2019 World Championships. What did you do back then to entice people to come out, and talk about that early process of trying to cultivate such a tournament?
You know, it was back in 2012, 2013, if you did $10,000 of added cash, that was a big amount to the purse. And we did that in 2012, and that was, you know, Will Schustrick came, Nico came. But in 2015, we did $65,000, and no other elite event was even $15,000. And so we did $65,000. Obviously, that first year we had some mistakes with the course design at Eureka, but, you know, and that was my fault. But I think I raised so much money, and I put it all back into the purse to try to get people to come. And then after that, we've been slowly improving every year. That first year after 2015, I had to make a lot of improvements, and then 2017. But the last few years, we've done player surveys. We just do incremental fixes to the courses and to the experience to listen to their feedback and make things better.
Well, Nate, let's zoom in on that first year at Lake Eureka, because now we're playing 4 rounds at this course. I was, again, there playing the first iteration of the course, and I think a lot of people saw the vision. But initially, you got a lot of flack. And talk about that feeling, putting all that work into a tournament to get all that flack from the players. How easy was it to take the feedback amongst all the negativity that kind of first year? You know,
it was 10 years ago, and so I took it worse than I would now. But you had people like Nate Doss and Paul Macbeth who they didn't like aspects, and they told me privately, Nate Sexton. And then you had some players who didn't take that route, and that was what hurt the most. But I wasn't around. I hadn't been around long enough to be used to that. But there was some heavy criticism, big germ, you know. But no, it was deserved. I think it was tough. I remember telling Terry Miller at my counter that night, Sunday night, I said, I'm never doing this again. I'm not going to do it. Too much criticism, and then I got over it in a few days and said, I'm just going to make it better. And it took a couple years to make it right. I think the stroke and distance out of bounds, those unique things, just you have to be very delicate with that kind of stuff. And obviously I've moved away from it now. We've made changes to toboggan where I've been heavily involved. I designed the course at Ivy Hill. I think I've gotten a little better as a course designer, but I'm not a top designer. I think I do a good job, but I'm always learning.
You've also designed, you know, especially recently, some pretty iconic holes. I mean, some of the new holes at the toboggan are world class. What have you learned as a course designer over the years, especially when it comes to the pro game?
Yeah, I think a hole like hole 5 at toboggan is a good example. I remember standing at the bottom of the hill and looking and seeing that green. You just have to have an imagination. When I designed 13 at Eureka, I remember just standing there on that path and saying, well, I want to put a basket over there. And I pointed to the guy I was with at the time, and he kind of looked at me, and you just have to have imagination. So I think imagining what it could be and what the players can do, and then figuring out a way people don't remember a bunch of average holes. They remember the really amazing holes. And so I try on every course I've been involved with to make sure there's enough memorable holes, because you're always going to have a few filler holes.
Before we jump to Sunset Hills, where the FPO are playing 4 rounds, I want to talk to you about your favorite holes and maybe what you're most proud of at Lake Eureka after all these years of refining the course.
You know, the one hole that I'm still most proud of is still hole 1, I think, and that is unchanged from the original design. And I think it's such a tough tee shot if it's windy. If it's not windy, it's not too bad, but I've thrown so many discs in that lake, kind of looking at the angles there. But hole 1 for me is still iconic. But then I love 13 and 14. I think those 2 holes are a lot of fun to watch and play. But I think hole 1 for me, it's stood the test of time. Still hard. If the wind picks up, you're going to see some discs in the water.
Well, let's move to Sunset now. We got the FPO playing here again. Tough logistically to have 2 different courses and a spectator event and selling tickets and whatnot, but I know Sunset, for a large percentage of the FPO field, is a course that scores very well, and they're very happy coming here, and it's been like that for a while. Talk about the design out here, talk about that process, and are there any unique changes this year?
Yeah, I think the big thing with Sunset is I think it's the only course on the Elite Series that is specifically for the FPO players. And I think a lot of times course designers, they have the MPO design and then they throw a basket 80 feet short for FPO, or I don't think a lot of thought always goes into the FPO layout. I'm not bashing other courses. I just think that's the reality, is that we design courses for MPO and then we throw stuff in there for FPO. And so Sunset is exclusively designed with FPO from day one. It was designed for FPO players, and that's why I think they like coming here, because there's no tweener holes. There's no holes. The old toboggan layout before we made changes had a lot of tweener holes, and we fixed a lot of those. But if I put them at Eureka, if the wind picked up, I couldn't make holes. I've thought about it many times. How could I get FPO there? I can't. Even with different tees, it's never going to feel like the pins are just going to be 80 feet shorter, and that's not what it should be. Here at Sunset, it's designed for them. Some of the changes are minor. We're sitting right next to one here on hole 12. We have a new tee pad that's built up kind of off the path. Small changes on the front 9. Hole 7 has a change for a new tee pad pushed further back. Sunset got really damaged about a month ago with some big storms that delayed some of our cleanup on the property and delayed some of the work, but those are the 2 major changes.
Over 2,200 amateur players here, scattered about the entire area here. Is it easy to manage this staff and delegate tasks to people? Has it gotten easier over time?
Yeah, it's gotten easier over time. It's still not easy. This is the first year in 7 years where I don't have my 2 main assistants. Michael Munn, his father, just passed away just a few days ago, and then Jamie Kemp works for the PDGA now, and so not having them has been hard for me. I have a great staff, though. Dwight and Jack have taken their spots, and they're on my full-time staff, but it's never easy to delegate. I'm much better at it now than I used to be. I want to do everything. I'll see a twig, and I want to pick it up. I'll see a painted line that I want to straighten, even though I'm not good at painting. But it's much easier to delegate now than it used to be.
What are some courses that the AMs play that you are excited to see play out?
I mean, for starters, the MA1, we have 3 pools, 450 MA1 players. They get to play Northwood Black, from the longs, and so those tee times, I think they're starting at 4 a.m., but no, they get to play Northwood Black from the longs, and that's really exciting. We've done a lot of work out there. I still love Northwood Blue, though. You have that. And then Kennel Lake, that's a design that Kip and I did. Kennel Lake's a lot of fun. Morton right there has 4 championship courses within 5 minutes. Obviously, you mentioned McNaughton. We have a new course, Youth Acres, just half hour down the road here. So many good courses here.
One of the most underrated places in the Midwest and maybe even the country to come play some disc golf. Nate Heinold, the show's about to begin. We'll see you out there.
Thanks, Brian.
We'll be back in just a few. Welcome back. We are now joined by the defending champion, Cole Redalen. Cole, what a push to the finish last year was. 1096 rated round, best round of your career so far, and you got your first big win. What are these feelings like coming back to Peoria?
Feels so good. I tried to stop by Eureka Lake last time I was here for Champions Cup, and didn't get to happen. So these last 2 days, just kind of soaking in what happened last year, playing the practice rounds and throwing the same shots that I threw last year. It's been really fun.
You were one of, I believe, 2 players out of the top 20 that didn't make the trip overseas to play the Europe stretch. I think Gavin Rathbun was the other one. Mm-hmm. How was that break? Was it even a break for you?
Yeah, well, it was kind of a hidden blessing in disguise, honestly. Europe didn't work out this year, and so I had to stay home, and I played 2 local A tiers, but little did I know I had a little more of a serious injury than I expected. Playing a lot of tennis and pickleball, like outside of disc golf, I think I strained my left hip flexor, and it was kind of bugging me through all of Preserve and Des Moines and really annoying. And I thought it was just an overuse thing, so maybe some rest would over a couple days would, have it feeling much better. But I got home and it just never seemed to settle down. I played two tournaments with an injured hip flexor, just kind of limping through it. It wasn't very fun, but I just wanted to play disc golf. So I played the tournaments, but yeah, I think I ended up kind of straining something in there, and it turned out to be a big serious issue. So I was working with my chiropractor back home, and he was doing a lot of treatment on it, doing a lot of scraping work and red light therapy and doing all that kind of stuff to zoom up the healing process. And so it was very relaxing, almost too relaxing, because I was laying in bed playing video games for most of the week.
It's not a bad life to live, but actually, let's talk about the scraping therapy. I've heard it's pretty intense. Have you done that before?
Yes, it's painful, but it definitely helps. It's really I don't know what the tool is called, but you basically take it and put some cream on the spot, and you just scrape it, and it's to get the tissue loosened up and moving around and get some blood flow in there. And I think that really helps heal it up. And then the red light therapy, I can't tell you much about that, but it definitely helps.
Does something.
It does something, and it definitely speeds up the healing process.
Well, how are you feeling right now? How are the practice rounds feeling? How different are the lines you're choosing to throw than the last time you came here?
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple different discs in the bag. I'm bagging the Ice Surf right now, so that has been a huge addition, and I'm throwing that on holes like 17 and hole 4 and hole 3. So I'm throwing that actually a good bit out there. Also the water tower hole. So and then I'm also throwing the Avalanche a lot more out there. I was throwing it last year, but I'm still throwing that. And then obviously those green aftershocks that I just absolutely in love with, throwing those all over the place. So the game feels really good. I feel like I got a solid game plan, and I'm switching up some things a little bit, but I don't think they're going to make too big of a difference. Really, the battle this week is going to be in the head, and it's also going to be the hip flexor as well, which it feels pretty good. Something I realized was I was just not incorporating my glutes enough in doing certain activities. So when you're not incorporating your glutes, you're going to be more on your toes, which puts strain on those hip flexors. So just doing a lot of glute exercises in the gym right now, trying to strengthen up the core, and I think that'll be huge. And the practice rounds have actually felt pretty good. So
thanks for all that information. A couple things I want to touch in on. You're getting DGA to remake that style of aftershock. I know you said it's your favorite mold that you throw from them. Are you getting to have any insight into how they mold these signature discs for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm stoked. We just actually had a release this last Friday of ProLine Glow aftershocks. Those are on otbdiscs.com, but they're super good. I told them to mold them almost exactly like those old limeys. We came out with the same green color, and I also brought back that original stamp that they used 14 plus years ago to actually stamp those old ones. So they're live on OTB right now, but they're super awesome, and they fly just like the same, maybe even a little more overstable. So I'm really looking forward to learning those and throwing them.
You got your name on a disc. I mean, you grew up playing disc golf. You found it at a UPlay event, and now here you are with your name on a signature disc. That's got to feel pretty surreal. I mean, you're still so young in this sport.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels amazing. Every time another disc comes out with my name on it, I'm like, I think this is just what I got to expect from here on out. Just keep playing well, and the expectations and the goals just have to keep on changing. As new things come along, you're oohing and ahhing about this one moment, and then you get into it again, and you're just like, yeah, okay, there's just kind of another day out there. So I have to keep reminding myself to be appreciative of where I'm at and not get too far ahead of myself to where now I'm just being really hard on myself and not enjoying it.
Well, let's talk about Lake Eureka. Do you enjoy the course in regards to the shots you get to throw? I mean, some players have positive emotions playing there. Some players get real frustrated out there. What is it like for you?
Yeah, I can't lie. I love playing that course. I think that's probably why I've had a lot of success on it in the past. And just throwing shots around water, I just really enjoy. I feel like there should be more water incorporated on tour if possible. I played the likes of Trojan Park in Oregon that has a lot of water out there. And I really like the water because it really punishes if you go OB. You lose one of your favorite discs if you're trying to throw the correct shot. So I just like playing around the water, and it makes you really commit to the shot. And then I just think those holes are pretty well designed. I'm throwing anywhere from a putter to a distance driver on that course, and I like feeling like I'm out there throwing my whole bag. It's not just a hyzer fest, and it's not just like a hyzer forehand fest. Like, you're throwing straight shots, you're throwing turnover shots, you're throwing rollers on 2 of the holes out there. So I just think the versatility works really well with my game, and playing those lines just makes me happy.
I want to key in on hole number 18, which is one of the more interesting par 4s I feel like we see all year. There's so many different ways to play it. How are you planning to play it this year if the wind doesn't get crazy?
Yeah, par on that hole has been just fine in the past for me, so I'm just going to be playing a distance driver flat and hard right down the middle, and then leaving whatever I have left on that second shot. Usually there's a forehand out to the left, or you have a straight mid-range into the green. Sometimes, if you're in the right spot, you can go spike hyzer over the trees to the basket, which I've done in the past. But 4 is going to be good enough on that hole this week, and if I end up taking the 3, then sweet, another birdie.
Well, one last question I have for you, Cole. We're mid-season. Are you making any conscious changes to the game, any form changes, any tweaks to the putt, anything like that consciously?
Yeah, not really trying to tweak anything anymore. I've been going through that process the last couple of years, and now I'm finding myself at a place where I'm just wanting to do what's comfortable. And as long as it feels good, as long as it feels efficient, and my body isn't getting hurt or injured from anything that I'm doing, that's just what's going to work for me, and that's going to be my game. And everybody has to pick their own individual game. So me trying to change it to look more perfect than it already probably is, probably isn't where I need to be focused right now. So not really making any changes, just looking for strength and consistency in what I already got.
Cole, thank you so much, my friend. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
We'll be right back in just a few. All right, welcoming in the defending champion, Missy Ganon. Missy, you made it back over the Atlantic Ocean. you made it. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, barely. No, everything went smoothly. I just got into town this morning, so yeah, not a lot of time to prep, but thankfully I feel pretty good on this course, and it's not enough changes to be too worried about. I just got off the course, and yeah, feeling good.
Do you enjoy coming back to a course that year after year doesn't have a lot of changes? Is that kind of refreshing?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's there's an excitement to, practicing new courses, but there's always a nice sense of like relaxation when you come back to a course that you can visualize the shots before you even, get to the course, which is kind of what I did on the way here. I was like, okay, what am I going to throw on every hole? And yeah, it pretty much turned out to be exactly the plan.
Well, you got 7 podiums, and in those 7 podiums this year, there's 4 victories in a major. It's been a great season for you so far, and a great stretch in Europe. I guess maybe zoom in on the Europe stretch. What a great way to cap it off.
Yeah, I've been having pretty good success in Europe. I my first time there last year, and I think I got a second place and a third place, and then this year got a third place and a first place. So yeah, pretty cool. It's been a great experience, and I'm just so thankful that I even have the opportunity to go over there and compete.
Well, in Estonia, you took down the victory, and all the players were saying how just wild the player experience was. And sounds like the Estonian government chipped in, was there supporting the event. What was that experience like? It
was cool. It was such a different vibe in a way. It almost felt like a traditional golf experience where there were, none of the spectators could actually like follow the cards, but they were basically lining every single fairway and every green. So they were really close, but not necessarily like within the same space as you, which was kind of cool. And it allowed the spectators to kind of walk freely through and find whatever card they wanted. And then for us, it just felt like we were just, the main showcase, and we were within the ropes, like actually within the ropes. And yeah, it was cool. And there were so many vendors, and yeah, it was a really, really fun venue to be a part of.
Well, now you're back overseas. You made it. You said just barely, which is great. Are you feeling any effects of the jet lag, anything like that? What does today look like? Just rest?
Yeah, I play, like I said, I just got off the course now, and I am pretty tired, but thankfully I've been waking up earlier than usual, so it hasn't been like hard to wake up. I've just been waking up at like 3 or 4 a.m., which isn't great, but also for our early tea times, it works out just fine. At least it's not the opposite way. So I think I'll catch up, but if anything, I feel pretty good in the morning.
Talk about sunset in general. I know when it first kind of came about, the players all said it scored really well, and it seems to have scored really well over time. How do you score out here? What's the strategy?
It's kind of one of those courses where you feel like if you're not getting the birdie on a hole, you might be losing strokes to a lot of the field. So a little bit of that element, but I think when the wind picks up out here, I think we're going to be probably dealing with some interesting conditions potentially. So that's what makes this course harder. And then, just battling that sort of mental thing of having to birdie every hole, but also, making sure you still play smart and, deal with whatever conditions are thrown at you out here.
Well, this is not just a pro event. There are over 2,400 players here in all different types of divisions. And I know this is kind of a Discraft event, Ledgestone event. Are you going to partake in any of the festivities this week? Yeah,
I'll be at the meet and greet tonight at the warehouse, and then tomorrow as well. My Captain's Thrasher is releasing officially, so we're going to have that coming out. I'll be at Lake Eureka tomorrow evening probably after the men finish, or maybe just before. And so I'm going to be doing that, and hopefully I'll be hanging out at the Fly Mart. So yeah, come on by and come say hi and grab some Frisbees.
Biggest disc golf event in history at this number of players, 2,430 to be exact. And yeah, we talked about it in Des Moines. You got to design a disc, and it's dropping this week. Yeah. It's got to be exciting for you.
It is, and again, like it's such a great thing to have been able to be a part of and design a disc specifically for myself, and I'm throwing it a lot out here at Sunset, and it'll be fun to finally get them into more people's hands. A lot of the team has had a chance to throw them, but I'm excited for the general public to be able to get their hands on them.
Talked to Cole Redalen just before you, who got to have a little bit of a break before this tournament. You clearly have not. You have been going nonstop this season. How is your body holding up?
Pretty good. I'm definitely taking it easy. Again, like I'm not going to stress about getting out and getting another practice round in before tomorrow. I don't think it makes sense. And I try to, again, do a lot of at-home sort of rehabilitation and just relaxation and just trying to be mindful of my body, and honestly feeling pretty good. I do get sore here and there, but I got to just work out the knots and take it easy when I can. But yeah, surprisingly, I feel pretty good. I am looking forward to a little break before Worlds. But I'm going to keep going, keep plugging away.
Saw your eyes roll to the back of your head when you thought about that. On tour, we know how tough these courses are and how much longer they're getting. Do you have time for like a traditional fitness regimen on tour? Do you do band work? Do you do anything outside of just disc golf?
I'm not like going to the gym and like weightlifting and stuff like that, but I am prioritizing stretching and, again, like just working on the shoulder and just, strengthening a little bit here and there. But mostly just making sure that my muscles are loose, and I try to get massages as frequent as I can. And, that seems to be working okay. And, as long as I'm keeping my head in a good space, I feel like that's what wins most of the battles for me.
Missy, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you out there this week. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll be right back in just a few minutes. All right, welcome back. Joining us now, Holyn Handley. Holyn, you didn't make the trip over to Europe this time. Did you take a break? Did you train really hard? What did life look like for you these past couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mostly just took a break. Got to go home I spent some time with some friends and family that I don't only get to see a few times a year, so that was really nice. And then just it's that time of year where we're starting to play a lot of events, so it's nice to get a little break. Give the joints and the tendons and whatnot a chance to heal and recover.
Do you feel like it worked out? Do you feel like the joints have healed and recovered?
I'm feeling all right. I've got a little bit of an elbow thing I'm kind of working through, but I think we're trending in the right direction. So feeling pretty good.
You got to do a little bit of coursework on the course that you're designing. Is it enjoyable to do all that course maintenance? Is it daunting? What is that process like, and how is it going so far?
It's enjoyable because it's a way to kind of still be doing disc golf even though I'm taking a break from throwing. And then it's, as I'm on tour and I'll find stuff that I'm struggling with, I'll think of, some spots on the course where maybe I could put this in, put in some elements that I'm maybe not as great with. So I was working on 2 new fairways that are just supposed to be a little bit more technical, a little more challenging. And man, it's a lot of work to build a fairway. You can be working for hours and it doesn't look like you did anything. But it was a lot of fun.
So this project more feels like it's your course. You're designing it for your game and what
Yes.
you want to work on. Have you considered any other play styles, or is this more like a practice paradise for you?
Probably more, kind of practice paradise. It's the kind of thing where I don't want any of the holes to necessarily play to my strengths, but to kind of emulate challenges that I see on the tour. Just to give me the idea is I don't necessarily play a ton of 18-hole rounds, but if I have a couple things I want to practice that day, I'll go out and play a few of those holes on just a little loop and work on some shots.
Well, going along with this, you've progressed so far, in a very short period of time since you first started playing. You posted a video of yourself throwing from, I believe, 2019 till now. Do you react emotionally when you watch that video to see your progression? What does that make you feel to see how far you've come?
I mean, it's good to do every once in a while because I think it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of what do I need to keep working on. And I think it's healthy to every now and again go back and kind of see how far I've come. And it doesn't feel quick when you're in it, but when you look back, it does feel really quick. And then kind of remember around this video, I was working on this. And then for this video, I was working on that. And stuff that used to be such a crazy challenge and felt insurmountable at the time. And it's something I don't even think about now.
It always seems to start so big picture and then it narrows in the better you get. Nowadays, what are you narrowing in on? What are the things that you feel like actually need to be fine-tuned, and what do you feel like just needs to be left the same?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I'm not necessarily trying to make big changes to my game because, a few years ago, it was okay, I need to stop rounding. My footwork needs to be this, needs to be that. It's really just trying to identify when I'm kind of deviating from what I want to do and identifying it early and kind of making those fixes before they become a problem in tournament. So, week to week noticing, am I shorting some of my upshots? Am I landing 20 feet instead of 5? Are my putts starting to be a few inches left of the pole instead of right on the pole? And then spending, however long I need to during the week to kind of fix those little problems, stuff that probably other people wouldn't even notice. And then also just continuing to work on angles and shot shapes that I feel like I need that I don't feel as comfortable with.
Well, let's zoom in on this course and the shot shapes and the lines you like to throw out here. Last year, you shot pretty well here. You averaged around 1,000. 7th place finish. You also played Northwoods, but we're 4 rounds here. How do you feel about your chances, and what kind of numbers do you feel like you have to shoot out here?
I mean, this course, any course, I really feel like my chances are really good. I feel like I've grown a lot as a player even since last year. If we were playing on Northwood, I still think my chances would be really, really good. But the nice thing about, in a more open style golf course that's not as long as you can really break the course down into just your strengths. And so that's really what I'm trying to do. A lot of hyzers, a lot of straight shots, both forehand and backhand, and then just trying to be really, really dialed with the short game. Because out here, you can recover if you throw a bad tee shot. But the putting and the approaching is going to be really important because you need to capitalize on those drives.
Well, let's talk about, you said hyzer, straight. Players can throw those lines all different types of ways. What types of hyzer do you like stability-wise? What kind of straight shots are you throwing? What does that look like right now for you?
Yeah, I like to stay kind of around flat, plus minus a little bit of hyzer and hyzer. I don't like a ton of extreme angles. I feel like I'm less consistent with them. So stuff that's neutral to slightly understable to slightly overstable, stuff like Undertakers, Athenas, Vultures, Raptors for the forehand, throwing the new Captain's Thrasher. That's been really great. And just trying to keep it really, really simple.
I've said this to a few other players, but this is officially the biggest disc golf event in history. 2,430 players here, scattered all across the Peoria area. And clearly they're going to come watch as well and partake in the activities throughout the week. Is that exciting for you as a player, and are you going to partake in some of the extracurriculars?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'll probably make it out to the Fly Mart. I need to look at the schedule. Honestly, there's so much stuff I don't even know. I don't even know what's happening. Maybe we had the ace race yesterday, and that was super fun. But yeah, having a lot of fans and amateurs coming out to play and then support is huge. I mean, it's everything. Like, we don't have this if we don't have people who want to watch and support us. So yeah, it's super fun.
Well, let's zoom in on a couple things. I mean, we have this tournament here, but we fast forward, we have Worlds coming up as well. Have you gotten to see any of those courses out in Virginia? Is there any chance you're going to make it out there early to practice? Think about that.
Yeah, I think I'm getting there. Like, I don't even know. I haven't even thought about Worlds, to be honest, because we still got this weekend and next weekend that we're playing. So I haven't really shifted my focus to Worlds. I think we're getting there with enough time for me to have 4 practice days and a rest day. So the usual. But yeah, I'm not focused on that yet. We got to win this weekend.
It's pretty nice to stay present like that and not think too far in advance. You're right about that. I guess let's talk about the season as a whole then. What are the big triumphs for you? I know you said second place isn't enough for you. Second place doesn't feel good. You've podiumed so many times, and you've probably heard the commentators applaud you for all these podium finishes. But how are you actually feeling about that?
I mean, I'm very proud of the results I've had this year. I don't want to come off as like unappreciative of the opportunities that I've had, but I mean, obviously, I've been close so many times, and really, it's just like continuing to trust that process. Like the process I've followed to get here has worked, and it's still working. I'm still getting better, week to week, month to month, year to year. So really, it's just going to continue. A lot more of it's been shifted to like, how do I build confidence and maintain confidence? How do I keep my shots feeling and looking crisp? Because at this point, it's like, 1 or 2 strokes around, and it's a completely different story, a lot of these tournaments. So really just trying to like continue to fine-tune things.
Holyn, thank you so much for your time and insights. We will see you out there this week. Good luck.
Thanks.
We'll be right back in just a few. And welcome back, Ohn Scoggins. Welcome to Pekin, Illinois. Ohn, you didn't make the trip over to Europe. but you were still playing some disc golf. You were just telling us a little bit off camera about what you were doing. You just couldn't help yourself. You went and played an MPO tournament in California, and you almost won. Talk about that.
I guess I just love to play tournaments so much, and then we have a seat here around my house. First of all, I don't want to play because I leave my bag inside my van, and we park at the airplane area, whatever. So when I go there, I don't the parking lot at the airport, sorry. And then when I go there, I was like, man, I don't have my disc, but I want to play so much. And then I'm kind of like go look around at my garage.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I pick my own disc, and then I go play weekly, and then I won. I won weekly, so I beat all the guy with my 18 down. And I was like, man, maybe I can do it. Even I just knew this, So I decided to play. Of course, I end up with second place so the first place got me by 1 stroke. I'm pretty proud of myself to just play with the new disc. So yeah, I cannot help myself.
Played against a couple of 1,000-rated players from California. How was it playing with the MPO guys, and was it a fun experience?
Feel good. They give me a lot of crap out there. They call me outside. They say, why you even here? But anyways, I love them. They big support me. They're very proud of me. But also, it's kind of like they lose a little bit face, because I beat them. But man, they love me, and I'm happy to play and hang out with them.
Does it feel good to get to go back to Southern California and play the local disc golf tournaments again with all the local players? Does that feel good?
Yes, of course, because I see a lot of my own friends out there and hang out with them. And, for me, it's just like a fun time to just go back and hang out with my people out there. And the love and support they give me was amazing. And like I said, you just feel like a local hero out there. You can call it,
of course.
Like that. Yeah, great time.
Well, Ohn, now we're back on tour. We're here at Sunset Hills. You got second place at Ledgestone last year. You shoot pretty well here at Sunset. Talk about the course, talk about the design. What do you need to do to score out here?
This year is kind of different though, because it's not just only we played this one 4 rounds, but also we have some 3 hole. It's kind of longer. And then some of them it's hard for me to reach on already. So I don't know. I feel like I can keep myself probably top 8 this weekend. I don't want to just tell myself, oh, I can win this one, or I'm gonna lose so much. I just want to keep myself in the middle of the pack. So I think top 8 probably will be okay for me this weekend, because the course, some of them, like I say, I could not reach yet, even so many years ago. But I feel like this weekend is in my head. Like I count 3. I know they have a high chance to win. So I'm not gonna tell you guys though.
Oh, you're not going to tell us your predictions. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I remember talking to you here last year about your practice routines, and at that time you were saying, this many putts a day, this many practice rounds, I'm playing full pace, high level all the time. Is it the same this year? Are you still practicing the same amount? Has practice changed at all?
The practice definitely changed, because like I said, I still hurt my arm. Today I want to practice 1 round, but just throw one disc per hole. And after yesterday I practiced, I come home, I feel hurt my arm, and I putting probably 100 putt, and I feel like, man, I could not do it anymore. Definitely, like my practice this year dropped, like pretty much like 50% drop, because I could not afford to hurt myself too much, and I cannot wait for the end of this year. I want to take 2 months off again, or even more. I feel like right now my arm is more important. If I feel like it's start getting hurt, I need to stop myself. And money is good. You practice hard, you win, you good, but I feel like my arm is more important right now.
Do you feel like you're playing as good as you played last year, or better? How are you feeling compared to 2023?
I feel like I play better, but the main thing is everybody play better too. So, sometimes I feel like I play better than last year, but another people like step up more than me. So, maybe my my game will be, I'm looking for between 4 or 6, 7 down. But other people, they might even shot like 10 down. So depend on, now I cannot control anything anymore because other people are just so good. We'll see who's going to win.
You made a post recently on Instagram after Des Moines, and you said, I missed some putts during the final round because of the nerves. And it feels like you play so much disc golf, Ohn, so many disc golf tournaments. Do the nerves ever go away? Do you always feel them at tournaments? And do you enjoy feeling them? Is there any positives from feeling them?
I always have a nerve, either much or small. Depend on how my game going on that weekend. If I feel like my game going good, and then my nerve will go down. But if my game like or my putting, it just kind of like missing here, and then I start to think a little bit more, and then that might be affect me on that weekend. I feel like everybody have nerve. I don't care you like 1-time world, 2 or 3-time world. Everybody have nerve. If you don't have nerve, you're robot. You're not human being. You know what I'm saying? Everybody have feeling. But I feel like, of course, this weekend is gonna get me nervous also. So that's something I have to deal with. I don't like it. Or I don't like it, but also I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Because I decide to play this one as a professional, and I have to go through everything. Doesn't matter like I have nerve or no nerve, or play good or not good. I signed for this, so I'm just gonna enjoy it.
Well, clearly you've won when the nerves have been high and the pressure is high. Do you have any strategies that you've developed over time after all these years to help when the nerves come about? Do you have any ways to combat them?
For me, it just feel like you need to be. I'm not scared to be fail. I'm not scared to be fail because I think fail is build you up stronger. And like I said, I prepare myself for everything. Whatever happens, happen. And the way I'm thinking, it's just a game. You know, it's just a game. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. Sometimes you lose more than win. It doesn't matter, you know, because we're not gonna be successful. Everyone not gonna be successful of this golf. It's gonna be one or other is gonna be better than you. For me, it just go with the flow. You know, whatever happens, happen. You know?
Show up and do your best. Ohn, thank you so much for your time. Good luck out there this week.
Thank you.
We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Thank you.
And welcome back. We are joined here by the most recent major champion here, Ganon Buhr. You took down the European Open. And you're back overseas. You made it. Talk about the trip in general and maybe the trip back here.
Yeah, it was a very fun trip. My first time out of the country of the U.S. and to play disc golf was a treat for sure. Seeing the kind of disc golf culture over there was awesome. And then obviously I, played okay at the other two tournaments, but I got the major win, which is what I was most focused on. That's my most important tournament. And going overseas, I'll definitely be back next year and probably even a longer tour because I think they're adding a couple more events. Which I would love to see because I know Norway had a couple really good courses. I didn't get to play the one up north that they played last year, but the Krokol was incredible. And obviously the Estonia Disc Golf Festival or European Disc Golf Festival was a crazy venue. And then obviously historic European Open, and that's going to be the site of Worlds next year.
What did you learn winning this major at the European Open that will prepare you for the Worlds? Do you feel like you already know what adjustments you have to make to shoot even better?
Yeah, I really didn't get much practice for European Open, so I think I can definitely do better. I played really, really good at European Open, but I also left a lot out there. In certain parts and rounds, I left a good amount out there. I remember the first round I only shot like a 3-under par, which not bad, obviously, but I think I only had like 5 birdies, so I just wasn't scoring. But then the second round, I now hold the course record for Tampa Bay Disc Golf Center at 9 under, but I still took 2 bogeys that day, and then on 3 separate holes, I missed 3 birdie putts from inside 30 feet, and so I could have shot much better, and obviously played pretty good at the Beast. That course is like my dream course in terms of if I want to play good. It just suits my game really well. Playing at Tampa Bay, you have to just survive the first couple rounds and not lose it. The problem is if you get too far behind, you kind of expect players at the top to shoot around 10 to 13 down at the Beast. And so if you're 6 strokes back, you got to go like 14-14. And so, you don't think you're that far back, but you are because there's just not enough holes to even play. And so I did a really good job of staying in it. I was tied for the lead after the first 2 rounds at Tampa Bay, and then that made it easy just to play a couple good rounds of the Beast and get the win.
Well, you're back overseas. Again, you made it. You said it's a little bit tough to sleep right now. Is this your first taste of what the jet lag aftermath is?
Yeah, the only thing I've compared it to is if I went to like California from the East Coast, and that's only like 3 hours. That's not that big of a deal. But the 8 hours, I'm definitely having more trouble coming back than I was going over there. Over there, I adjusted in like a couple days. Obviously, it's only been a couple days since I got back. But, like I said, I've said before, I usually stay up till like midnight in the States, and then I wake up at 9, so I get my full 9 hours of sleep. But now, 9 o'clock in the morning is like 6 in the afternoon or whatever the calculation is, because we're 8 hours ahead when we were over there. And so my body, I want to go to bed at the same time I want to, but then I just wake up at like 6 in the morning, which is not normal for me. And then I know I have the latest tea time tomorrow, and so I'm going to try to go to bed a little early tonight just to make sure I get my hours of sleep, and then we can adjust later.
Well, you're going to have to figure out the sleep schedule because you tee off at 3:30 tomorrow. You have a long time before your tee time. And you tee off with Cole Redalen, defending champion, Anthony Barella, Paul McBeth. I asked this question to Cole maybe last year, kind of asking what he liked about your game, because I know the two of you for a little bit were getting compared all the time, both being young players. You're playing now with Cole, who won this tournament last year. What do you like about his game and how he approaches disc golf?
I think he's like surprisingly really good at like touch shots, like throwing like nose up with a very straight disc and just throwing flat. He's like really good at throwing flat and slow. And like, I don't know, I have some trouble with that. My throw is like pretty nose down most of the time. The time it's easiest for me to throw nose up is a slight anhyzer, but it kind of acts nose up anyway because it's trying to fight the stable edge. So it's kind of a cheat code, but some shots you kind of have to go like straighter disc on a hyzer. Like him and Paul McBeth are like the best 2 players in the world at that. I'm so jealous of how Paul can throw a 7-speed on basically slight hyzer, maybe flat, but it's just like nose up, and he can like throw lines that I can't. Obviously, I throw lines that he doesn't as well, but that's one kind of attribute of their games that I'd really like.
It is funny, you're also playing with Paul, and that leads me into my next question. You had both of them chasing you at the European Open, Ricky and Paul, which I don't think a lot of players can say that they had that happen to them in their careers. Do you ever get any mentorship from Paul? Whenever you were first coming up and he started to maybe notice you, did you ever hear from him? Did he ever give you any advice moving forward?
Not really.
He knew it was time for competition.
Maybe, yeah. He's always been I've always had a fun time playing with Paul, especially like, if we're not, on like the final round lead card or we're not in contention, we talk like a lot. I feel like when we play together, I haven't played with him much this year or even like last year, but I remember 2022, my first good year on tour, we played quite a bit together and that was super fun. Kind of the same deal with Ricky. We just chat the whole time if it's not the final round, basically, where, final round European Open, Ricky said like 4 words.
Of course.
So, we got to be locked in. So I enjoy playing with both of them.
Well, we just talked about Cole. He said he really likes to play Lake Eureka and likes the shot shapes out there. And when you watch it on camera, you don't necessarily see some of those lines that the players experience. How do you feel about that course and how it suits your game?
Yeah, I feel like it's a course that should suit my game really well. I've definitely put down some pretty hot rounds there. 2022, I was leading Ledgestone by a couple strokes after round 1 at Eureka. And so I can play really good out here. But I've also had trouble at this course and, not having much sleep. That's my least favorite thing to do in disc golf is playing with no sleep because you can't focus. You just kind of spray everywhere and you have no idea where the disc is going to go. And when you have so much OB and water, I stepped out. I brought like 2 water discs for like now until like Maple Hill. And my first shot in the States, I dunked in the water. And so I'm already down my water disc. We're going to have to go get another one. But, yeah, the course it's a good mix. I think I throw a lot of backhands and forehands out there. I think the part I like most about the course is you actually have to think quite a bit. There's a lot of different ways to attack holes, and you kind of got to pick and choose the ways you want to attack those holes. And yeah, just keep it in bounds because people throw OB a lot here, and so if you can just keep it in bounds, it's pretty easy. One thing I do note is a lot of the drop zones are very difficult. And so if you throw out of bounds in the first shot, like the drive or something, the drop zone is not easy. It's a bogey at best, and I've seen huge numbers on some of the drop zones out here. It just adds a little more pressure, a little more stress to your round when you come up to a hole to know the drop zone's tough. Just like the water tower hole even, that drop zone I think is a couple hundred feet, but it's blind, super skinny landing zone. I almost think it's easier from the tee pad, so I hope to never even end up there. But yeah, if you can, your game feels pretty good. You can definitely dial in and get pretty on, and the course feels pretty easy. You can string together a lot of birdies, but I know a couple of the new additions with the new pins. It's going to be a little bit tougher. I know 17 is going to be really, really hard. I haven't really played the course much yet. I played like a couple holes in the dark last night because I just got here, and then I'm out here at Sunset Hills until like 6 o'clock. So I'm going to go head over there and play the last kind of 8 holes of the course and see how they fare.
I have one last question for you, Ganon, and thanks for the clarity, by the way. While you were playing over there in Europe, the Junior World Championships were happening, and there's so many videos coming out of these young players with so much talent. Did you get to watch any of the junior players, any of the highlights? And if you do know, are there any junior players you know of right now that we should look out for?
Oh, gosh. I should have done a better job of watching.
You don't have to know. This is a tough question.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't really watch much. I believe, was it Ryan Mon? Jake Mon's brother, he's really good. I know he's trying to go for kind of like the major sweep. I think like Junior Worlds, Am Worlds, and Am Nats. I think he's on pace, so that's pretty cool to see. I feel dumb because I know a lot of junior players that are really good. Yeah, it's good to see.
It's pretty impressive to see all the
definitely helped me kind of play how I am on tour right now. I remember playing as a kid, and I played really safe as a kid, and so people, usually the kid's mind is go aggressive, kind of go for everything, run dumb putts. I never really did that, and so I had a couple Junior Worlds where I won by 20, 30 strokes, and that's the reason is because I just play a lot safer than everyone and just didn't take many bogeys, and that kind of is similar to how I play now. Obviously, the harder the courses get, the better I get, the more aggressive you have to get to win. We see these days you literally almost have to play perfect. Ricky shooting 16 under round 1 of the Estonia course. He was chasing me at the Beast 14 through 17. Like, it's just crazy. And that's not easy. People say the course is easy. It's not.
Look at the rest of the scores.
I think people are just really good at disc golf now. Yeah. And, when people like that are on, there's nothing stopping them.
Well, Ganon, should be an exciting week. Thanks for your time. We'll see you out there.
Thanks.
We'll be right back. And welcoming in the last winner over here in the States on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, Emily Weatherman. Emily, it was a wonderful week in Des Moines. Did you get to celebrate it all during these couple of weeks? I know you didn't get to go over to Europe.
Yeah, I went home and I saw my family and my friends back in Abilene, Texas. And we all celebrated. They had like a skins round for me, which was a lot of fun because I always enjoy skins with everybody back home. So yeah, everybody there really, they made me really happy.
You had a pretty packed schedule, and you won the tournament. You got to go home and relax for a little bit. Was it rejuvenating? Do you feel like you were getting antsy when you were at home, or was it a nice rest for you?
I was definitely happy to like relax at home for a bit, but I kind of feel like it takes away my momentum whenever I go back home. So I'm excited to be back out here on tour again and back in like the swing of things.
So you're full-time tour. This is your life now. This is everything you're putting your heart and soul into.
Yeah, I actually just bought an RV, like a little motorhome over the last few weeks, and me and Rob are in it, and I think it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of money saved, and I'm really excited for that.
Talk about the motorhome. I know there's always a learning curve to living in one, driving one, taking care of one. Do you have experience with them in the past?
No, I drove a little Ford Fusion, little tiny car.
Oh, yeah.
Before this. And then I drove the RV for the first time, like 6 hours, over to Houston to pick up Rob. We went to see his parents for a little bit for his birthday and celebrated that. And also his 9th place finish that he got over in Europe, so that was exciting. But it's not too bad to drive, honestly. Like, I drove it a lot better than I thought I would. And I drove through rain for quite a bit of the time, like some really heavy rain at night. So it wasn't that bad. But it's kind of interesting learning all the like curves of
the ins and outs.
Yeah, the ins and outs, where things go, all that. But it's gonna be fun.
Your life has changed so much in just a short period of time. Does it feel real yet? Did you ever expect to be doing this full time?
Yeah, it's always been my dream. So I knew that I could do it, and I'm just happy that I'm doing it. It does feel real, so it's not like crazy to me.
Not a surprise.
Not a surprise, yeah. But I am very proud of myself for doing it.
Well, let's zoom in on this course. We're playing 4 rounds at Sunset Hills. A lot of players are saying it's a very scoreable course, has been for quite some time. What about for you? What kind of numbers do you feel like you're going to put down out there?
Honestly, I don't know for sure. I've struggled a little bit during practice, just kind of reaching the pins on some of the holes. I think I need just a little bit more distance, so I'm going to have to definitely be betting on my C2 putts this week. But, I have high hopes. Just get pars where I don't see a birdie and get birdies where I can, mainly on the par 4s and par 5.
How many holes are there out here that you're walking up to and saying, I don't really care for a birdie on this one? Is it a lot? Is it a little? I
would say a good amount. I didn't actually go through and count, which I actually have in the past, so kind of weird that I didn't. But it's a good amount. I think at least 3 or 4.
Okay. So you're not attacking every single hole out here.
Correct, yeah.
And does that completely change the tee shot for you, or is it just a pretty similar shot to if the pin was shorter?
A similar shot to if the pin was shorter. just like I said, betting on my C2 putts, hoping that I can kind of. A lot of them are the holes with the bunkers around them, so I'm trying to give like a safe bid on the basket and maybe hope for it to go in, but not attacking too hard.
I think something that a lot of people who are just becoming familiar with you as a player are noticing is your putting and your putting stroke. Are you proud of where your putt is right now? And when you practice putting, what do those putting sessions look like?
I am really proud of my putting. It's always been something that people have pointed out, like, wow, you can putt really well from whenever I was really young. It's kind of like a natural little talent I have. But my putting practice, honestly, I don't do much besides if I am out like strictly just practice putting, not in a round, I a lot of the times will make my comeback putts as well. So it's as if I'm playing a tournament and I miss the putt and I have to make the comeback putt. It helps get all the little distances that you might struggle with in your head. It helps the long distance putts, like everything. So that's kind of the main thing. But when I'm practicing, I throw 2 putts from every drive.
So not necessarily going out to a field or practice basket and grinding it out. It's more just getting it done on the course.
Exactly.
Is that
yeah.
really just not having enough time during the middle of the season to actually go put the work in, or what does that look like to you?
I mean, I have time. I just like
It's a lot of disc golf.
field work and like practice putting are things that I don't do too often unless it's like close to where I'm staying, and I'm staying in an RV park today, which I know Ohn does have a little basket that I think we were thinking about going over there to her little area and using, but we haven't yet.
Well, Emily, just one last question for you. There are over 2,400 people here in the Peoria area to play this tournament. Are you going to go out and mingle with any of the amateur players at any of the fly marts or anything this week, or are you just locked in and focused on the win?
I'm pretty sure we're planning on going to the fly marts, so I'm excited to, meet people. I know a few of the AMs that are here. I think one of the guys bought one of my new jerseys that I got, and he's wearing it this week, so that's exciting and very sweet of him. But yeah, I'm excited to mingle with everybody.
It's going to be a big week of disc golf. Emily Weatherman, good luck this week. We'll see you out there.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back in just a few. All right, welcome back. And joining us, a new face to the Disc Golf Network, but maybe not to those of you who are paying attention. Lexi Marx from Peru, Illinois. Lexi, you're from Illinois. You'd call yourself a Delwood local, but about an hour away. You just won the Clash of the Canyons there, but you had to leave Clash of the Canyons to come practice Eureka. Talk about this last weekend.
Well, I signed up for the Temp Flex a while back, and I was really excited to play it because you obviously can only do that once a year. So I actually was supposed to play it Sunday. I withdrew from it because I wanted to play Clash, and then Nate had opened another Flex, and so I signed up for it like the night before. So I played my first round of Clash, and then we drove to Eureka. I know, it was really fun though. And then I got some good sleep, and then I came back Sunday morning and won Clash in a 2-hole playoff. So,
what a weekend for you. Well,
yeah.
let's talk about your disc golf story. I mean, you've really come a long way looking at your PDGA stats here, and this is your first year playing FPO for the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Just tell us your disc golf story. Where did you find the game, and kind of how did you get to this point?
So I think I played my first event at the end of 2021. Before that, I feel like I wasn't very serious about it. And then once I kind of went to a couple leagues and realized that I wasn't too bad at it, I started to kind of gain that competitive edge to get better. And so then from there, I just started playing events. So 2022 would have been my first full year playing events. So I've just kind of been progressing since then. People at Delwood had really pushed me to move up to FA1 pretty quickly, so that I think that helped me improve at kind of a faster rate, so I'm thankful for that. And then I just decided, why not make the jump to Open and see what happens.
Well, you went to the Des Moines Challenge. You aced hole 5. The video went everywhere. Talk about the aftermath of that. I think you were on ESPN, is that correct?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Oh, well, it was just a really surreal moment for me. I thought mid-flight, I was just kind of this could go in, but I was but I'm not about to ace on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. There's no way. And then it went in, and it was just kind of a crazy experience. I don't really think it set in what I did at the moment until afterwards when people were like, oh, you're going to be on SportsCenter, and so it just kind of blew up, and it was really cool. I think it was pretty motivational to see that I can do that at that level, so I don't know, it was just a highlight of kind of my life, my disc golf career, so it's exciting.
2-part question for you. Number one, what are you learning from playing these Disc Golf Pro Tour events that you're coming out and signing up for? Obviously, you're playing this weekend at Ledgestone. And then also, how are you practicing? What does your practice look like? Are you a grinder out in the field? Do you love playing practice rounds only? What does that look like for you?
So really, I just go into every tournament kind of the me against the course type of attitude. Just trying to better myself. I've really been focusing on my short game recently, putting, up shots. I know I can throw the disc decently far, but it doesn't do you any good if you can't get up and down. So I've just really been focusing on that this year. I think playing the bigger events has really been more about nerves, honestly. I don't think I've ever played a tournament where I'm not nervous, but I think that shows that I'm passionate about it, obviously. So I do field work, I play practice rounds, I putt in my basement, so I just really just all over the place, I guess.
And in regards to athletic background, was it easy to transition to disc golf for you? Did it come naturally? What sports did you play growing up?
So I think physically it came naturally. I played college basketball, so I have the athletic ability for the sport, but mentally it's been very challenging, to say the least. So it's just more of an individual sport. You're in your head a lot of the time, and I never played individual sports. I always played team sports. So that's probably been the biggest challenge so far. So baby steps. I'm getting better at that as we go.
I mean, so much more disc golf ahead of you in your very young career. 2021, you joined the PDGA. Let's zoom in on this week here at Sunset Hills. How much experience do you have on this course? Is this a very new one for you? What does this look like?
I practiced yesterday, and ironically enough, last year for Amateur Worlds, I played Sunset Hills. So the course has not changed. I think 2 holes have 2 new tee pads. So that's really the only change that's been from last year when I was here for Amateur Worlds. So I'm really happy to be back. I have some redemption to get for this course, so it plays well to my game. I like to throw, wide open, different angles, things like that. So I'm pretty excited to see how I can do.
Well, let's talk about your play style. I mean, a lot of people probably haven't gotten to see you throw a disc yet, but they will. What do you like to throw? What kind of stabilities of disc do you like to throw? Do you lean on forehand, backhand? What does it look like?
I'm predominantly backhand, but I can forehand. I forehand a lot of up shots here and there, and then if a hole sets up more for a forehand, I'll force myself to throw it. But for the most part, I throw stable discs. I like to release a lot of discs flat and then just let the disc do the work. But I have learned a lot more angle control this year, so that's been nice.
Well, we're playing a 4-round tournament here at Sunset Hills. A lot of room to learn and kind of continue to adjust on this course. What are your expectations coming out here? Do you just come out here to gain experience and learn? I know this is only maybe the third Disc Golf Pro Tour event that you've played, something like that?
Fourth, I think, yeah.
Or do you come out here saying, I don't care what anybody is rated, I don't care what anyone's accomplishments are, I'm coming to win? What does it look like for you?
I have high expectations for myself. Sometimes I think that makes things worse, but I just really want to play my best that I can, and any mistakes that I make, they're bound to happen, so I just really want to work on learning from them. Every day is a new day, 18 holes. It could be anybody's day, really, especially at a course like this, so I'm just going to focus on staying in the present, enjoying where I'm at, and just obviously learning.
Well, maybe hitting another ace might not be too shabby either. Lexi Marx, thank you so much for your time. Good luck out there this week.
Thanks.
We'll be right back on the Disc Golf Network. Well, the show starts tomorrow, but not before we talk to the last man here at the press conference. Got the assistant tour director of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, Phil Delaunay. Phil, show is about to begin. How are you feeling about it?
Good. I like these clouds to just keep pushing east as fast as they can. So we have a dry time here on Thursday and Friday. We have the little chance of rain and weather, but we're feeling good about the event. It's one of the strongest teams and crews, the Ledgestone crew, led by Nate Heinold. I think we work with all year, so excited to have them behind us.
What is big for you right now in your job? What is the biggest thing that you have to focus on in regards to the pro game?
I'd say to continually elevate the standards. We keep pushing. Continual improvement is one of our core values as a company. So I believe, like, as we transition out, like, we're at the halfway point of the season, if not further. So I think really focusing on tees and baskets going into 2025 are going to be huge. And then about 2025 right now, we're just working on finalizing the 2025 schedule.
At a certain point, it feels like you just can't win with tee pads. Maybe you can. Talk about kind of what you've gone through to kind of figure out how do we elevate the standards.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just a solid tee, whether that be cement. You still can't win because it could be eroded at the top. But I think the space around the tee is probably the most important that I feel like we should be concentrating on, especially with muddy, rainy conditions. We should have rocks, wood chips, whatever we can do behind the tee pad so that players aren't constantly tracking mud on the pad in that hip pocket. And then turf tees, the hit or miss. So right now, X-Step Pro seem to be the favorite in America. Although we just heard some great feedback about the Norwegian tee pads for the Crocal Open. So I think really focusing on standardizing the tees, the sizes and dimensions. So 6x12 is typically our standard, and then just having, the back not be a run up, not be a step, and really having actual rocks and gravel to mitigate that moisture, I think goes a very long way on the pro circuit. So.
And then on the basket side, yes, baskets have been an incredibly hot topic this year, and that almost comes down to philosophy of how one wants to see disc golf. What is yours, and maybe what does the Disc Golf Pro Tour want in a good basket?
Yeah, I think we want a basket that in the toughest moments of our game, the pros can feel confident to putt on, not only for themselves, the outcome of events, tournaments in general, but for sponsors and just the way our sport looks in the industry. I think as we continually elevate and there's more mainstream media and media outlets out there, it doesn't look good for our game. I think when players are not, getting putts to fall, but flip it to a couple of years ago, even 10 years ago when there wasn't as many chains in the basket. And, now we're going from old school baskets to new school. One thing we are going to be doing is developing a program right after USCGC that Monday and Tuesday for pros to come and test. So we're going to do a basket testing and working with Statmando and ourselves to try to drive, a bunch of disc into the basket repetitively. So if FPO players, MPO players in the pro circuit can give us their feedback, that's what we're looking for. On top of that, we're going to, rewind and go back to events and look at statistics because we know every event, like every basket that's been on every event. So hopefully, I think once we get through all of that, we'll be able to kind of look ahead to 2025 and 2026 to see where our standards should be. So,
is it something where once a decision is made on what you actually want, is there something that the company has to send out to the basket manufacturers to say, hey, you have 2 or 3 years to make a basket like this? Or is it selecting from the current baskets that we have?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think one, we'll select from the current baskets we have, but two, I think if we're still working this out as
of
well.
Course,
so if something doesn't get to the next round, I think we still need to, these manufacturers are the heart of the game. They allow us, they sponsor the tour, and they help us. So I think we need to give them that moment to kind of change and upgrade as well. So, chain stars were a thing of the past, and Discraft over the last couple of years really took pride in their basket and took the time to actually elevate it to the Discraft Pro. So that basket catches well. I think it's a good target on tour. I think pros feel confident putting in that. I think we're going to see it at Eureka. We're going to see Innova 28s here at Sunset. So yeah, we'll be able to kind of see it, how it pans out this week. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. Little spit outs down the stretch here and there could cost a lot these days. Whether that be like a major championship or a podium finish, it's definitely something that we need to elevate continuously.
Sounding like you're leaning towards the side of you obviously want the baskets to catch even better than they do now.
I'd say they catch pretty well now, but just consistency.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are they, spitting out here and there, like cutting through the chains? But yeah, I think it's from where our baskets were. I really would love like the older pros to chime in on this, because they were putting on some baskets, the Mach 2s and Mach 3s, and what were they doing? They were still putting up the same numbers. And sure, do we have the pros change their putt every weekend? Some pros do, and they just accept that. I think a biggest thing in going into each weekend too is like the mental battle. So it's like, if you do not like or prefer this basket, you just need to adjust, because at the current moment we're working with what we have, and
of course
you need to keep going.
Talk about Ledgestone in general. You've come here as a player. You've been on the Disc Golf Pro Tour as a competitor. I've said this multiple times as presser, but there's over 2,400 people here participating in this event. What are your thoughts on what you're seeing so far?
Yeah, it's incredible. I think this is the 4th year in a row that this is the largest disc golf event in history. So yeah, I've been coming here, I believe, since 2016 as a player. Took a couple of years off here and there, but now on this side of it, on the behind the scenes, it's pretty insane to see what Nate does. Nate has a solid core of tournament directors regionally, and like he flies people in to kind of help him. He has 15 different courses, amateur courses and pro courses. Lots are going into that, regardless if it's like course TD, lightning delays on 15 different courses around this greater Peoria area. It's a lot to see. It's cool to see. The growth is, it seems like if there's 2 more courses, Nate would have 17, events and stuff like that. But I don't know, every year Ledgestone gets better. But I think the pro courses this week, we set up Eureka, and that's dialed. It's been dialed for the last couple of years. There was some work to do here at Sunset when we arrived. They had some really bad storms over the last couple months in this region. So over the last 48 hours, they've done some pretty remarkable things to kind of bring this course up to par here at Sunset.
Phil, thank you so much for your time, my friend. The show is about to begin tomorrow. We will see you out there, and folks, we'll catch you on the Disc Golf Network.
Thanks, Brian.